Cambodia is ASEAN's newest member state, joining only on the 30th of April 1999. The economy thrives in agriculture, and the other key sectors are tourism and textile. Cambodia has marked itself as one of the fastest growing countries in Asia, with an annual rate of 7.7% between 1998 and 2019. In 2022, their GDP has increased to an estimated $27 billion, and for our project, we would like to expand further on the ASEAN Political Security Community Pillar, Apsc, application to Cambodia. For political development, after the Khmer Rouge regime, with the influence of the Paris Peace Treaty, the Kingdom of Cambodia is a multi-party democracy under a constitutional monarchy. The current king, Norodom Sihamoni, serves as the representative of the state, which symbolizes national unity, peace, and continuity within the Khmer people. The power of the government are split into three different branches. This includes the National Assembly, which is responsible for the legislative branch of government, the Cabinet of Cambodia, or the Council of Ministers, which are responsible for the executive department, which includes the prime ministers and the ministers, the parliament, which holds legislative power, and the judiciary, which has the power through Supreme Court, the appeals court, and the provincial courts.
The shaping and sharing of norms of Cambodia. Although Cambodia was one of the latest to join ASEAN as a member state, they have made use of the opportunities given to them by ASEAN and have steadily improved their political, economic, and socio-cultural frameworks. Economically, with the accession of Cambodia to ASEAN and their participation in the ASEAN Free Trade Area, the country was able to increase and improve their trade volume and trade flow with other regions. Furthermore, Cambodia has also been an advocate for the promotion of human rights within ASEAN. In 2012, Cambodia hosted the ASEAN Summit, during which it was pushed for the establishment of an ASEAN human rights body. The body, known as the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, was established later that year. In addition, Cambodia has been involved in promoting regional cooperation on environmental sustainability. In 2016, Cambodia hosted the ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on Environment, which focused on issues such as climate change, sustainable development, and biodiversity conservation. From ASEAN's cooperation agenda, Cambodia has tried to restore their relations with international communities ever since their long period of isolation during the Khmer Rouge period. This agenda aims to improve quality of life and reduce poverty.
As a country with a long history, the method to resolving conflict in Cambodia can be roughly categorized as traditional resolution methods, which dates pre-1970s, and modern prevention and resolution methods, which took place after the civil war that happened in the 1970s. As the coups and civil war started heading into the 1970s, most of the traditional methods have been abandoned in favor of unequal hierarchical systems and political propaganda. Instead of focusing on preventing and resolving conflicts, individuals in this time period would rather use punishment, purging, and terror in order to keep the situations quiet. This decade of terror caused multiple outside interferences. As the flames brought by the Khmer Rouge died down, Cambodia began to reconstruct their society once more, and included in this reconstruction is their approach to conflict prevention and resolution. The 1990s marked a turning point for Cambodia, with the signing of the Paris Peace Agreement, the intervention of the United Nations and other international organizations and non-government organizations, and the approval of Cambodia's membership to the ASEAN. Several conflict prevention and management approaches have been present, including problem aversions, communication and peaceful dialogues, and open disputes. Resolving conflicts have become more systemic, with more individuals opting to follow legal procedures to do so. At national level, several policies and programs have also been implemented in order to promote better conflict prevention and resolution in the country. Conflict prevention and resolution is part of the Cambodia's Sustainable Development Goals, falling under SDG 16, which aims to reduce violence, to promote the rule of law, and ensure equal access to justice, and to ensure responsive, inclusive, and representative decision-making as parts of their SDG targets. Disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration operations are currently being implemented in Cambodia. With this program, weapons are to be managed, registered, gathered, and/or destroyed. Combat veterans are also registered and given the chance to reintegrate into society as a member of the civilian population. DDR programs were implemented with various success, all with the aim to promote non-violent resolution for conflicts, especially as Cambodia is currently a post-conflict nation. Cambodia also implements the alternative dispute resolution practice, which aims to allow individuals to negotiate and settle disputes outside of courts. With this system, involved parties go through conciliation or mediation, often headed by monks or other similarly prominent individuals. As land and management disputes tend to be rampant, Cambodia also has strong legal frameworks that offer non-violent resolutions for these disputes. Such frameworks include the Land Law and Regulations, the Royal Decree on the Establishment of the Natural Authority of Land Dispute Resolution, and the Code of Civil Procedures. To prevent nationwide conflicts and civil wars, Cambodia has also introduced and implemented the National Reconciliation Policy, also known as the Win-Win Policy, which aims to promote peaceful negotiation, mutual understanding, and mutual compromise. Aside from restoring peace, this policy also aims to promote societal development, as it also outlines that peace can only be present with sustainable development, and that sustainable development can also only exist when there is peace. Cambodia's civil wars during the 1970s reached global infamy, causing international organizations and neighboring countries to interfere. The turbulence brought by the Khmer Rouge eventually culminated in the Paris Peace Agreements that were conducted with the aim to end the conflict in Cambodia. The Paris Peace Agreement centered on four main principles, which include free and fair elections, civil and political rights, judicial independence, and reduction of corruption. Various efforts have been made by the country to adhere to these principles, from creating and implementing related policies, to putting these four as part of the country's targets for their sustainable development goals. While the Paris Peace Agreements have laid foundations in the country's societal reconstruction after Cambodia's civil wars, they are not, however, the only international involvements which helped Cambodia's post-conflict peace building. When Cambodia gained membership in the ASEAN organization, the country also began to adopt the principles of the organization. Aligned with the principles of the PPA, in paper and in the country's constitution, the fundamental rights of the Cambodian citizens were given priority. The Cambodian constitution is founded on recognizing and respecting the fundamental rights stated in the United Nations Charter. Some of these rights include every citizen's right to equality before law, right to life, freedom and personal security, right to vote and stand as electoral candidates, right to assembly and peaceful demonstrations, and right to active participation in political, economic, social, and cultural life of the nation. The Cambodian government has also implemented policies and programs to further promote human rights, including the National Strategic Development Plan 2014 to 2018, the Rectangular Strategy, and the law on the organization and functioning of the courts. Cambodia has also adopted the UN General Assembly Sustainable Development as an approach to further the human development agenda for the country. Related to the topic of human rights is the abuse of human rights that occurred during the Khmer Rouge regime. In order to restore the peace caused by this event, the country has also set up the extraordinary chambers in the courts of Cambodia, which is also known as the Khmer Rouge Tribunal. At present, Cambodia has come far when it comes to achieving peace, stability, and economic development, especially as a post-conflict nation. However, while Cambodia has been making great strides in providing negative peace, which includes the absence of war and prevention of conflicts, the country still has things to improve upon when it comes to positive peace.
A law regarding disaster risk management was passed in the year 2015 for Cambodia. Because Cambodia was ranked 16th of the most vulnerable countries in the world, it has a mission to become more prepared for immediate disasters and emergency response. The Law on Disaster Management 2015 had three major objectives. These are as follows: prevention, adaptation, and mitigation in the pre-disaster period due to natural or human-made causes, the emergency response at the time of the disaster, and recovery in the post-disaster period. The ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response also aids in reducing the percentage of disaster losses in lives and the overall assets of the member states. The concrete framework that Cambodia follows would be the Sendai Framework, which has been announced and proposed in the UN initiative and has been active since 2015. It states that the state holds the primary responsibility for reducing disaster risk. However, this responsibility must be shared with other stakeholders such as the local government, private sectors, and other stakeholders. There are 4 priorities that complete this framework. First priority would be understanding disaster risk. Second would be strengthening disaster risk governance to manage disaster risk. Third would be investing in disaster risk reduction for resilience. And the last priority would be enhancing disaster preparedness for effective response and to build back better in recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. On Cambodia's disaster management and emergency response, the National Committee for Disaster Management is the one responsible for performing immediate actions and coordinating roles between the different line ministries and the donor community of the country. Its responsibilities are limited to disaster preparedness and emergency relief. There are 3 things that the NCDM gives major focus on in disaster risk management as stated earlier. These are preparedness, response, and recovery. On preparedness, the management prepared 2 sub-phases, the structural and non-structural phase. These were deemed necessary in minimizing the damage inflicted during an anticipated disaster in Cambodia. For response, this is done quickly, dealing with the immediate and sudden effects to save lives. We may refer to this as the golden 72 hours in which NCDM must act within 3 days to respond to the calamity. Lastly, recovery prepared 2 sub-phases wherein the first sub-phase is performed immediately after the disaster to provide emergency aid to affected communities and take care of immediate disruptions, damages, and other effects on the disaster. The second sub-phase focuses more on the restoration of the affected areas back to their original state or make it even better. Though Cambodia has a concrete plan for disaster risk management, there are still some points for improvement. 4 key areas that need strengthening for the management would be the following: policy and legal development and implementation, disaster preparedness and emergency response, disaster management information system, and the public awareness and early warning system.
In conclusion, Cambodia has applied the ASPC pillar by implementing various policies and initiatives to promote social welfare, improve healthcare, education, and human rights, and enhance the regional cooperation with ASEAN. While challenges remain, Cambodia has made significant progress in achieving the goals set out by the ASPC pillar, contributing to the overall development of the ASEAN region.